How many times have I heard from my listeners all across the US and Canada, Warren, I don't understand it. My dog's gaining weight, my cat's getting weight, but I don't feed them that much. Well, let me explain a few things. Number one, as far as I know, there's no calories in air. So if your dog or cat is gaining weight, there's no physiological reason your vet clears them, but your dog or cat is still gaining weight, obviously, more food is coming in than is going out. So I want to talk a little bit today. I actually made notes for myself specifically on some mistakes people are making when they feed their dog. And a lot of people feed their dog all wrong. I'll give you an example. You leave your dog's food out all day long. Depending on the type of dog you have, it's not always a bad thing to do, but many dogs, certain breeds specifically, we mentioned beagles, really like to get down with their food as soon as it's put down. They kind of eat it all at one time. And that's really not healthy for a dog. Just think about this. Maybe in the wild years ago it was healthy, but what would happen is wolves would gouge themselves. They'd actually get something called meat drunk. They would get so drunk and wobbly they could hardly walk from eating so much meat at one time. So I'm a big fan, and this is the way I feed my dogs. I feed them several times throughout the day. As a matter of fact, Willie and Molly get a minimum of 2 feedings a day, and when I'm not away or when I'm away from the house, or 2 feedings, but when I'm home, I try to give them even the 3rd feeding a day. Smaller amounts, not more food. I don't want them to be chubby, but I do want them to get 3 smaller feedings. And by the way, any dietitian will tell you that the best way to lose weight if your dog is overweight is smaller feedings more frequently throughout the day. And that's what I recommend for your dog as well. Also, a lot of people say, well, I gave him this handful of food today and a handful of food tomorrow. Every handful of food is different. So I'm a big advocate of measuring your dog or cat's food prior to giving to them. That could make a big difference. And lots of times you look down at your dog or cat and you want to give them a treat. I got hugs and kisses treats. So I'm a big fan of giving treats. But sometimes you got to take into consideration when you're giving your dog a treat or many treats, you got to back off a little bit on the food because the treats have calories. I have my dogs convinced carrots are made out of liver, so they love their carrots as their treat. Of course, their hugs and kisses as well. So that's something you want to take into consideration. It's really important not to give too many treats. And if you're going to use treats, try to use as healthy a treat as you possibly can. And measuring your dog or cat's food is critical. I have a measuring cup. I know exactly how much food Molly and Will, within reason, are getting every day, unless I'm eating something that they feel like sharing with me. And don't feed your dog from the dinner table. Now, that's a tough one for me. As a professional, I say, yeah, don't ever feed your dog or cat from the table. It's not the right thing to do. But as a pet guardian myself, I'm eating something at the table. They're down there looking at me. Every once in a while, I'll give them a little something. But minor, and make sure it's a little something. That's important as well. And a lot of people are trying to cook for their dog or cat. Now, I don't have a problem with that if you have a degree in nutrition or you've taken the time to really educate yourself. But there's some amazing dog foods on the market, but you really got to be careful to choose the right dog food or the right cat food for your pet. They're not all the same. Where are they made? How many different products are made there? I recommend a specific dog food on my show, Lucy Pet Food. There's reasons for that. I know where it's made. I know how it's made. And I've been to their factory, so that's something to take into consideration. Now, what about giving real bones? A lot of people call me and say, well, I want to give my dog a real bone. I got it from the butcher. As a professional, I'm telling you, I don't recommend that. I don't give my dogs rawhide bones. I don't give my dog these bones or natural bones either because a little piece can chip and get into them. There are alternatives that you can use as well. And if you have the dog that really, as I said, and this is very common, I put down my bowl. Even though I'm trying to feed the dog, as soon as I put the food in, he jumps right in it and he just eats it right away. Here's what I do. When people call me on the show and they ask me about a dog that's woofing down, no pun intended, woofing down his food so rapidly, what I do is I always suggest feed your dog or your cat out of 2, maybe even 3 dishes. In other words, a little food in this food, a little food here, a little food there. Spread them out within a foot or 2 of each other. This way, at least the dog or cat has to take a break between going from one meal to another meal to another meal. And one more tip about feeding your pet. Very often, people use different types of dishes. I'm a firm believer in stainless steel dishes, not plastic. Stainless steel. Why? Because you can put them in the dishwasher, you get rid of virus, bacteria, whatever you got to do. So stainless steel is the way I go. So feed your dogs, let them enjoy their food. Just be conscientious about how much food they're taking in every day. See you on the Pet Show next week. Be sure to join and ask questions in the comments section down below. Every week, I'll be giving away 5 jars of my best-selling Hugs and Kisses vitamin mineral supplements to folks who join the fun and comment on the video.